So let's kick off this series of videos by just talking about why might you want to teach English in Brazil. And let's start by talking about why Brazil, and then we'll talk about why teaching English here. Now, I have to assume if you're watching this video that you already have some interest in Brazil. I'm not sure what that might be. Maybe you'd like to experience Carnival firsthand before you die. That's a good thing to have on your bucket list. Maybe you've seen on TV or in films the magnificent beaches here. I mean, this country has something like 8,000 kilometers of coastline. I'm looking at coast over here right now. Which equates to about 5,000 miles of coastline. So yeah, there are some really nice beaches here. But there's so much more to this country. Of course, there's the Amazon rainforest, which you may want to see. There's also the Pantanal, which is the largest wetlands, seasonal wetlands in the world, much larger than the Florida Everglades. There are sand dunes here, there are desert areas, there are mesas, there are canyons and rivers. I mean, the topography of this country is just amazingly diverse and varied, which shouldn't be surprising when you look at a map and you realize that Brazil is fully half of South America in terms of area. So there's a lot of diversity here. I hail from the U.S. You may be from the U.S., you may be from Canada. These are also very large, very diverse countries, but Brazil holds its own against these in terms of size, diversity, and grandeur. It's really a spectacular country. But there's a lot to like here. Sports. Okay, if you're into sports, this is a great country for you then. Of course, you probably equate Brazil with soccer, football. In which it excels. Also, so if you're into that, you can come down here to up your game, right? Also, beach volleyball is very popular down here. And Brazil actually combines the two, soccer and beach volleyball, into something called foot volley, which, if you can imagine, is basically beach volleyball played without hands or arms. It's pretty amazing to watch these guys on the beach, like spiking the ball with their foreheads. It's really very amazing. There are so many other sports here. Again, I'm at the beach. Beach sports, you've got, of course, beach football, beach volleyball. You've got surfing in many areas. Windsurfing is very popular here in the Northeast, where I happen to be right now. Kite surfing. There's also, in some areas, you have rappelling, you have canoeing, you have kayaking. If you're into sports or you want to just get back into shape, this is a great country for you. Food is really good here too. It tends to be very fresh, inexpensive, and it's also diverse because it varies from region to region. So the food is really, really interesting. Culturally, Brazil is very interesting as well. It's really, in fact, sometimes you could view it as 6 or 7 different countries. Each region of the country is unique. Not surprising when you consider that these different regions were settled by different peoples at different times, and in the early days they were kind of separated, so there wasn't a lot of communication between them. So you find in different regions different food, different music, different styles of behavior, costume, holidays, dance, music. It's really very interesting culturally from that standpoint. What else? The people here are very friendly. If you watched news coverage during the 2014 World Cup or during the 2016 Olympic Games, undoubtedly you saw people interviewed here, visitors interviewed here, and virtually without exception, they said, wow, the people here are really friendly and really welcoming. And I think that that's true. Regardless of where you're from, the Brazilian people are likely to be quite welcoming to you. It's very unlikely that you would experience any kind of Yankee go home attitude. Even if Brazilians don't agree with the politics of your home country, they're typically not going to hold that against you. They're going to look at you as an individual, and I think that speaks to their character here. So what else? Music. I touched briefly on music here, talking about the regions. I think it's a shame that people from English-speaking countries don't listen enough to music that's not in English, because Brazil has a very rich musical tradition, and it's very interesting here. I actually met a guy, Rod, from Australia, who plays guitar, and he came here specifically to study the music, and I think more people should do that. I'm not a musician myself, but I certainly enjoy the music here. So those are a few of the reasons to visit Brazil. I'm sure that I'm leaving out many, but there are lots of reasons to come here. And I think it's a shame that, for a country this size, more people don't visit. I think, part of that is due to Brazil's reputation for crime, and I'll address that in another video. But, you don't have to worry too much about that if you just apply some common sense. You can come down here and have a wonderful, safe time. Okay, so that's Brazil. Now, why would you perhaps want to teach English in Brazil? Okay, let's be honest. Most of us, myself included, we're not disciples of the English language. I don't feel that I have to go out there and spread the good word about gerunds and infinitives. It's simply that teaching English is an expedient way to get started quickly earning money, and it's in high demand down here. So you'll definitely find students if you apply yourself at all. And I'm going to show you how to find those students. The pay is pretty decent. It varies widely depending on where you are, whether you work for a school or you work independently, whether you're in a big city or a smaller place. Maybe you have a good niche, like, if you know real estate, if you're a private pilot, if you have a medical background. These are specialties which allow you to focus on a higher dollar niche, where you could earn really good money. But you could earn anywhere between $10 and $20 US an hour, maybe more than that if you have a good niche like a private pilot license. You could work with pilots, flight attendants, airline mechanics, these folks, and command top dollar. So again, there's high demand. You can make decent money, especially when you compare to the local wage here. You can work then between 20 and 25 hours a week teaching, and then add a few hours for class prep, and that's your week. And it leaves you plenty of time to go out and practice your foot volley or whatever it is that you're really down here for. So it's it's again high demand, good money. You can get started right away. It's frankly not that hard. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but you may be a little intimidated about teaching English because you haven't studied grammar in a while and so on, but grammar is only a part of what you'll be doing. Teaching grammar, that's only a part of what you'll be doing. And really, teaching grammar, a lot of that's just boning up on the terminologies. So grab yourself a couple of books by Raymond Murphy, Essential Grammar in Use and English Grammar in Use, and review those, stay a lesson or two ahead of your students, and you'll be fine. It's really not difficult. A lot of teaching English is conversation. My favorite exercise with students is to select articles, which I think would be interesting for them. Could be on really any topic. And then have the student read to me. I'll correct her pronunciation, explain any points that she doesn't understand, her grammar, and then when she's finished reading the article, then we just discuss it. I mean, this is a lot, forms the basis of a lot of my classes. So it can be very enjoyable, and Brazilians, again, are very friendly people. I count most of my students as friends now. I've met many of them for drinks or dinner. I've been invited to a couple of weddings. So I think that there's certainly worse ways to earn a living. Believe me, I've done a lot of them. I've done a lot of them in my life. The scut jobs when I was young, and even when I was older and had like the good professional jobs. These were high stress jobs, and I don't have a lot of stress in my life right now. I really enjoy what I do. So anyway, I'm starting to ramble, but those are some reasons why you might want to look at Brazil as a place to come and stay for a while. and why you might look specifically at teaching English as a way to fund that stay. And in subsequent videos here, I'm going to talk about some more specific points to help you make your decision about whether this might be right for you.